So this morning, I'm going to do a little bit of a love letter to HTML. When I was a kid, long-distance phone calls cost about 50 cents a minute, which in today's terms is like $2 a minute. So you do a quick call to grandma, grandpa to check in, see how life is going, and it would very quickly be like a $50 phone call, which was a lot. And it's really hard now to imagine that what it was like in a world where it would cost you $50 to just check in with somebody really quick. The web has changed us so much already, and our ability to communicate with each other has changed so much. You're going to meet people at this conference, and in the past you would just exchange business cards and be like, yeah, let's stay in touch, and then you'd like never see them or talk to them again in your life. And now instead, of course, we know this, you follow them on Twitter, you look up their website, you see what work they've done, you check out their GitHub repo. Carolyn Wood, who is a friend of mine who I've never met in real life, she said recently when we were chatting on Skype, she said, the magic of the web is getting to know other people, to really know them, who you would otherwise never had the chance to meet. And I think that that's really kind of at the core of the web. It's real easy to talk about the new Chrome developer tools and the tickets we got to get done today, but there's something really magnificent going on that's been going on now for 25 years and one day. Yesterday being the 25th anniversary of sort of a pin in the timeline marking the beginning of the web. This memo is what it's marking. This memo, Tim Berners-Lee he wrote up a formal proposal to his boss. He had to ask his boss, even he did, hey, is it OK if I work on this thing? I have this idea. It was another year and a half before any software got written. Robert Caillou joined in with Tim Berners-Lee. They both had been working on a lot of different kinds of systems and had been trying to solve the same problem over and over again. So the two of them started working together. And really, they were on a mission to solve a problem. They were trying to figure out how to best collaborate and share information among a wide group of people at CERN. Where at CERN, they're doing all these crazy things, like smashing atoms together and trying to figure out the nature of existence. And keeping documents about that, it was like a side project. The web was just like, how do we keep things organized? They had both, there were a lot of other things that were going on at the time. There were a lot of hypertext projects out there. There were a lot of documentation systems that people were able to buy or use or subscribe to. But these two, they knew they wanted to have a system where they could have researchers' technical manuals, manuals for software, minutes for meetings, hastily scribbled notes. They wanted to be able to have, CERN is this crazy place where people are coming from all over the world, and they come for a year or 2 or 6 months, and they leave. It's not very hierarchical. It's not a one company. It's a research laboratory, international, and people just didn't even know who each other were. They had to, how could you keep track of who was who and what was what, and who was working on which thing and what was scheduled when? So Tim Berners-Lee and Robert Caillou were shopping around. They were really trying to figure out, what system to be used. They'd each built one in the past. And they knew that there was a problem with everything they were seeing, and that it would sort of force these researchers and these scientists to use a very specific set of taxonomy, or a very specific set of how you're going to organize everything. They were very top-down systems, and they had a very fixed structure. And they knew that people would just not go for that. They weren't going to use it. So Tim Berners-Lee said about writing, I would have to create a system with common rules that would be acceptable to everyone. This meant as close as possible to no rules at all. This notion seemed impossible until I realized that the diversity of different computer networks and systems could be a rich resource, not something to be represented, not a problem to be eradicated. And we know what happens, right? The web crushed. It crushed. It became not only a great tool at CERN, but all over the world, and it just sort of took over everything else that was happening on the internet. This graph only goes to April '95. I drew a graph for you that goes longer. It looks something like this, right? So why did the web crush everything else? Why was it so popular? I feel like there's really something about the nature of the web that I hope to understand and to teach, and for everyone else to understand and to use in making projects that you're making today. So here's some qualities. One thing, there's no central authority. You don't have to now write an email to CERN to say, hi, my company is doing X, and we just made a new website. Is it OK with you if we put our website on the internet? Right? now it's like water, we're fish in water, you just don't even notice the water. But at the time, it was a very radical idea to not have a central authority controlling the system. There is no clearinghouse, there's no phone book, there's no main place where everything is put. You can link to other people without their permission. Despite what my friends on Facebook think when they ask me or other people, hey, is it okay if I link to your thing? Like, yes, it's okay that you link to the thing I put on the internet. You don't need to ask me permission. Like, that idea to be able to link to other items out there on the web and not have to have permission, not have to have it be a two-way link, it was just a radical big deal. It was a big deal. And that you could put any kind of content on the web and you can structure it in any way you want. So you hire your designers, your user experience folks, your information architects. You can figure out whatever is best for the project that you're working on and build it however you want to build it. It doesn't matter that your website is completely unlike everybody else's website. The web itself, HTML itself, was designed and built in a way to make that totally possible. And one thing that Tim Berners-Lee writes about a lot is how important it was for him for this to be universal, for this to work across a whole bunch of different devices and a whole bunch of different network connections. Does this sound familiar? Everybody doesn't have to have the same computer. Everybody doesn't have to be running the same operating system or have the same type of network. And you think that's bad now? We're wrestling with those problems now? They were way worse 25 years ago when these were the computers that people were using to get on the internet. And this is a web browser. This is the line mode browser, which was really the first widely distributed browser out of all of the early browsers, because you could just use it. You didn't need to have a next machine to use it. You could use it on a terminal or something like this. And you can actually go check this out. Google line mode browser, and you can go surf the web today using the line mode browser. They just people at CERN just rebuilt the whole thing, so you can play with it. But when we talk about the Internet of Things and accessibility, and in order to run an iOS app, you have to have an iOS device. To run an Android app, you have to have an Android device. And to run the web, baked into the very nature of the system is the fact that you don't have to have any one of those particular devices. It's flexible, simple, and forgiving. Flexible, it ensures that you can use any kind of content, any kind of data. In the beginning, the web just ingested all the content from Gopher and Usenet and listservs. HTML was designed to be able to represent any type of document. It's also designed to be very simple. It's simple on purpose. It's not simple because it's old, and old people didn't know how to write complex, awesome computer stuff. It was based on SGML, and SGML was way more complicated. Like, they intentionally pared down what had been going on. They took what was happening in hypertext and they made it more simple because they knew it would work better that way. And they wanted it to be simple to learn as well. And it's forgiving. HTML, you can write bad HTML and it will be OK. The system, the browsers will forgive you. You can have old stuff and the new stuff comes out and the old stuff still works. You can write new stuff and it sort of works with the old stuff. And, I mean, we feel the pain points, but really there's so much of it that really does work where we don't get into trouble. And I feel like in some ways, because of the simplicity, because of the flexibility, because it's forgiving, in some ways HTML doesn't get a lot of respect. Probably many of you in this room have been in some kind of computer science degree program, and you had this idea for this big, awesome web project, and your professor was like, that's not real computer programming. Like, that's not good enough. That's just that web thing. That's, And I feel like, well, boo-hoo. Like, I'm sorry. HTML is only the most awesome programming language ever that has taken off and is being used by more people on more systems, on more computers in the history of forever, always. And, oh, it's not good enough for you? I'm supposed to be using Turbo Pascal instead? Or, oh, wait, no, it's Java, or wait, what year is it? HTML is really quite remarkable. It's also declarative. I think, too, it gets a lot of disrespect because people, it's not procedural, it's not functional, it's a declarative language. But that doesn't make it not a programming language. And I think sometimes as even web platform folks, we can get a little confused and feel like, dang, that stupid HTML. I'm just going to load an empty page. I'm so sick of this crap. And once the empty page is loaded, then I'll run the real program. I'll run the JavaScript. And the JavaScript will be awesome, and it will do all this kind of awesome stuff. I mean, even yesterday, actually, I overheard somebody say, compared to iOS, compared to Android, the web still really sucks. And I feel like, well, no, it doesn't. It's just different. And I don't want us, as we make JavaScript more powerful and we make the web platform more powerful, I don't want us to lose perspective and lose sight of what really did make the web be really kind of amazing. We've had this impulse before to sort of try to clean up this chaos or these unknowns or like all this weird flexibility. Like, let's get rid of it. Let's just make a box and we'll put Flash in it, and then we'll be able to control everything. Or let's get more specific. Let's make it more complex. We'll do XHTML2, and we'll then it'll be like we'll make HTML into a real programming language. And we know what happened. Like those things just they didn't work. So I just feel like if your HTML looks like this, then you're doing it wrong. Like it shouldn't look like this. This is a developer who kind of just is trying to get out of it and doesn't want to do I don't know, doesn't want to do it, or feels like sometimes I hear developers say, well, HTML is it's really much too easy. Like I don't need to bother with it. It's not worth my time. And then I hear the same other developers say, it's way too hard. Like I don't know which element I'm supposed to use. It's not consistent. It's it's okay if I use the wrong one. What is that? I don't like that. I'd rather just not use any if I can. But which is it? Is it too hard or is it too easy? So anyway, all this is to say, HTML is really quite remarkable. It's really what it's enabled us to do and the way it's enabled human beings to connect to each other and share our work with each other, despite all these crazy different devices, despite all the unknowns that we have, is really absolutely remarkable. So happy birthday, www, kittens, sharing humanity, being awesome. Thank you.